Hello boys and girls from Math 6, this is Miss Giomini. Working on a little bit of a review from lesson 4.3, adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. I believe you guys did touch on this last year in 5th grade, which some of you guys did share with me. So this should be a little bit of review, but this is always a tricky skill. So I'll do a couple extra here and see what we can do. So add the two fractions, simplify the fractions, and convert to a mixed number if needed. So first thing I see here we have to do is we have to add. We also have to simplify it and then convert. Again, if needed. Now, so taking a look, let's just start with a fraction. Let's go with 3/4 plus, let's go with 5/6. Okay. I tend to look at the larger of the two denominators, which will be in this case the 6, and I begin to list the multiples of 6. Because I can't add these two fractions the way they are. 4 and 6 don't talk to each other. I need to have the common denominators. So I'm going to start listing my multiples of 6 and see if 4 is a factor of one of those. So 6. Well, nothing times 4 will give me 6. Next multiple is 12. Hey, wait a minute. I have a winner because 4 times 3 is 12. So now I know my common denominator for these two fractions is 12. So I can make one fraction here. Because I'm adding them, I'm going to put another plus sign here and put another 12 here. Okay. Now what I need to do is I need to ask myself, what did I multiply 4 by to get 12? Well, I multiplied it by 3. And just like we did in the one lesson with finding equivalent fractions, I want them, whatever I multiply the denominator by, I must multiply the numerator by. So I multiply 3 times 4 to get 12. Now I'll multiply 3 times 3 and get 9. I now come to the next fraction, which is 5/6, and I say, hey, what did I multiply 6 by to get 12? Or 6 times what are factors of 12? It'd be 6 times 2, so I multiply this by 2. Whatever I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. 5 times 2 is 10. Now I am good to go because I have like denominators and 12s talk to 12, so now I'll add these two together. Remember, when I have fractions, the denominators will stay the same. You do not combine these, so we just have 12ths. And now I add 9 plus 2, which is, 9 plus 10. 9 plus 10 and the numerators, 9 plus 10 gives me 19. Okay, I see right here this is an improper fraction because the numerator is larger or greater than the denominator. So I want to convert this to a mixed number. And all I do to do this really says 19 divided by 12. Or I could say, hey, how many times does 12 go in 19? Well, it goes one time. I always think about the denominator comes with me, it travels with me. So the denominator is not going to change. It'll still say 12. And now I typically go, hey, 1 times 12 is 12, and I'll subtract that 12 from the old numerator. 9 times 12, sorry about that, is 7. So my fraction is 1 and 7/12. 7/12 cannot be reduced or simplified, so there is my answer, 1 and 7/12. Let's take a look at another one real quick. Thought I had another one in there. There we go. All right. Let's go with 2/3 plus 5/8. Okay. I want to add these. Actually, let's change this to a subtraction problem because this is adding and subtracting. Let's change the subtraction problem. Let's do that. All right. Same thing. I'm going to take a look and see and identify which denominator is larger. It is the 8. I cannot subtract these two because the denominators are not the same, so they do not talk to each other. They need to be the same to talk to each other. So I'm going to list my multiples of 8 and figure out if 3 is a factor of any of those. Well, nothing times 3 will give me 8. 16 is my next multiple of 8. Nothing times 3 will give me 16. 24 is my next multiple of 8. Hey, you know what? 3 times 8 will give me 24. So there's my common denominator, 24. So 24 here. It's a subtraction problem, so I'll minus, and 24 here. Okay, so now I am just going to do the same thing I did for addition and ask myself, what did I multiply this 3 by to get the 24? And I multiply it 3 times what? It's 3 times 8. Again, this is why it's great to know your multiplication facts. Whatever I multiply the denominator by, I must multiply the numerator by. 8 times 2 is 16, so there's my new numerator, 16. Okay, what did I multiply 8 by to get to 24? Well, I multiplied it by 3. Whatever I multiply the denominator by, I must also multiply the numerator by. 8 times 3 is, or 5 times 3, I'm sorry, is 15. Now again, what we're doing here is we're really just making equivalent fractions. 5/8 is equivalent to 15/24. 2/3 is equivalent to 16/24. So I am still really subtracting 2/3 minus 5/8. I'm just making them into equivalent fractions so that they have the same denominator now. And I go ahead and subtract, and that'll give me 16 minus 15 is 1. Remember, we add or subtract fractions. Once the denominators are the same, they just stay the same, and it's 1/24. If I have a 1 in my numerator, I cannot simplify that or reduce it, so there is my final answer. Hope this helps you with adding, subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Take care.